Survivors: A7760, A7761, A7762. This is how the Nazis designated 3 sisters when they brought them to Auschwitz in 1944. A convenient mobile street confessional in Częstochowa, Poland, 1964. A policeman and an elderly woman during protests against a new tax in central London, 1990. A German pilot jumps from a burning plane. Parachutes did not exist at the time. World War I, 1915. Spanish poet Federico Garcia Lorca reading poetry before his execution, 1936. American Marines pose against the backdrop of a huge mushroom cloud from a nuclear explosion, Nevada, May 1952. A prisoner pulls a box of coal out of a coalface, Russia, 1890. Korean War veterans display experimental prostheses, South Korea, 1955. 1753, Russian physicist Georg Wilhelm Richmann was killed testing atmospheric electricity. He accidentally created ball lightning that struck his forehead. A Japanese soldier adjusts a Chinese man's head before decapitating him. Execution of a prisoner of war, 1938. 1910, New York. 4 young girls send blessings to people 100 years into the future. German soldiers lead Polish girls to execution, 1941. Menthol cocaine for coughs, 1911. Instructions say to take 1 lozenge every 2 hours. A little girl from the Philippines was displayed in the Coney Island Zoo with animals. She was placed among monkeys and lizards, tied with ropes, and people were allowed to throw peanuts at her, 1914. In 1948, a local tribal chief in North Dakota weeps as he is forced to sign a treaty handing over fertile land in the Missouri River Flats, his tribe's homeland, under the threat of his people's destruction. A soldier uses a slave as a seat, USA, 1962. On October 22, 1895, a train running at full speed to make up for its delay failed to brake in time. It crossed the Montparnasse station, broke through the facade, and went 10 meters beyond. A temporary morgue at the Seguro Social Baseball Stadium in Mexico, one of the most destructive earthquakes in American history, occurred in 1985, killing 10,000 people and injuring 30,000. In the 19th century, many people feared being buried alive. Until 1934, some companies produced special safety coffins equipped with means for rescue. A tradition of American military sailors. When crossing the equator for the first time, newcomers had to adopt this interesting pose, 1944. The Football War, 1969, a 6-day military conflict between El Salvador and Honduras. The pretext for the war was the loss of the Honduran team to the Salvadoran team in the playoff matches of the World Cup qualifying stage. Doctors perform artificial respiration on a drowning victim while a woman in a swimsuit poses. New York, 1940. Feminist Elin Wagner stands beside 350,000 signatures demanding women's right to vote. Sweden, 1914. The 1960s became the era of the miniskirt. However, women had to fight for the right to wear them. The expiration date on milk bottles was first introduced thanks to Al Capone after his niece became seriously ill from drinking spoiled milk. The influential Chicago gangster persistently lobbied for milk expiration dates to ensure the safety of children and pregnant women. Adolf and Rudolf Dassler, brothers, founders of Puma and Adidas. They hated each other so much that they didn't speak until the end of their lives. High jump at the 1908 London Olympics. The May 2nd, 1945 edition of the Stars and Stripes newspaper, "Hitler is Dead." A Turk washes his feet for his final prayer while Bulgarian soldiers prepare a gallows for him, 1913. Human-powered tractor for moving heavy stones, England, around 1880. Annie Jones, a bearded woman who worked her whole life in the circus. Her mother sold her into it when she was just 3 years old. A soldier from the 173rd Airborne Brigade, South Vietnam. What athletes of the 19th and 20th centuries looked like. French Catholic clergy in Dijon burning an effigy of Santa Claus in front of children in protest against the pagan Christmas, 1951. A rare photo from the Bakumatsu period captures the last keepers of ancient martial arts, The Last Samurai, Japan, 1860s. Mary Connors, the human nucleus, flies over the Avon River in Bristol, England, 1974. Mark Twain demonstrates an experiment with high-frequency current passing through the human body, lighting an incandescent light bulb, a mischievous Nikola Tesla at the light switch, 1895. John Pemberton created Coca-Cola to wean himself off morphine. While serving in the military, Dr. Pemberton received a chest wound. To ease the pain, he took morphine. The wound healed, but his addiction to the opioid drug remained. Pemberton decided to develop a recipe for a drink based on coca leaves. A herd of elephants before mass extermination truly meant a herd. Photo taken in 1976 in Africa. Democratically elected President Salvador Allende just seconds before his death during a military coup at the Presidential Palace, Chile, 1973. Patent sketch of toilet paper created by inventor Seth Wheeler, 1891. Uhlan, a member of the light cavalry of Kaiser's Germany at the dawn of the end of this branch of the army, 1914. An old globe on an ostrich egg. It's about 500 years old. During the bombing of Yugoslavia, 1999, Che Guevara with Bolivian soldiers before his execution, Bolivia, 1967. Adolf Eichmann walks in the courtyard of his cell at Ramla Prison, 1961, Israel. Adolf Eichmann was one of the main organizers of the Holocaust. Martin Cooper from Motorola made the world's first mobile call. He called Joel S. Engel, a competitor from Bell Labs, 1973. The monsters one can encounter in the remote corners of our planet. A giant man-eating crocodile, 29.5 feet long, shot by hunters in Australia, 1957. A woman uses a special bandage to fight depression, Budapest, 1937. Soviet peasants listened to the radio for the first time, 1928. In 1945, the USS Indianapolis was carrying an atomic bomb to Japan but was torpedoed and sank. The sailors who ended up in the water were attacked by sharks. About 150 people died from their teeth. In ancient times, Santa Claus would collect naughty children, throw them in his basket, and take them to the North Pole to serve him as slaves. This is where the legend of Santa's elves comes from. He was just a cat, but human enough to console during periods of loneliness and pain. Baby Races, New Jersey, 1955. The Crazed Stare of a Shell-Shocked Soldier, World War I, 1914. Corporal Shoichi Yokoi hid in the jungles of Guam after Japan's surrender in 1945 and lived there for 28 years. He was found by shrimp fishermen in 1972. His first words upon returning, "It is with much embarrassment that I return alive." Died. The first woman who attempted to participate in an election. When trying to enter the polling station, she was pushed out and thrown to the ground. United Kingdom, 1872. Allied soldier inside a lookout tree, 1918. Initially, trees near the trench line were selected for this purpose. Then, photographs of these trees were taken from different angles, and high-quality models were made, which were later installed at night in place of the cut-down trees. During the casting for the lead role in the horror film The Shadow of the Cat, 1961, a person after a lobotomy, official treatment involving the removal of part of the frontal lobes or severing connections between brain sections, 1935. Palestinian refugee camp, Jordan, 1969. A concert recording on an audio tape recorder, Poland, 1980s. In 1969, a protest against the use of bras was held in San Francisco. Papier-mâché decoy heads from the time of World War I. These heads were used to deceive enemy snipers. Interestingly, the technique was born out of desperation. In trench warfare, where the front line did not move for months, any trick could save dozens of lives. An attempt to remove a psychiatric clinic patient from a tree, London, 1895. Children using a Bellamy salute during the Pledge of Allegiance to the US flag. A year later, the ritual was changed due to its resemblance to the Nazi salute, 1942. At the 1920 Olympics, Teresa Velde became the first woman to perform a Salchow jump, but judges disapproved. Russian soldiers without insignia with machine guns near the building of the Supreme Council of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, March 1, 2014. A World War II propaganda poster, Japan actively campaigned against colonial powers, targeting empires like Great Britain. What X-rays looked like in the 1900s. In the 18th century, admission to the exotic animal collection at the Tower of London cost either a penny and a half or a cat or dog they were used to feed the lions. Children take cover in an underground shelter to escape the explosions. Spain, 1938. Sexy lingerie, France, late 19th century. A beluga whale weighing 1,102 pounds, Sea of Azov, 1956. A snake man entertains other soldiers at the front, France, 1915. Open-air POW camp, Kharkov, USSR, 1944. A black family drinks from a colored-only fountain in the U.S., 1956. The contrast between their dignified appearance and their humiliating social status is striking. Men show off a shared dual mustache. The last day of distributing gold, which the government had been intensively seizing from the population the entire previous year, China, 1949. Out of 100,000 people, only the first 50 who bribed the police received gold. German soldiers greet Soviet tanks with flowers. Poland, September 1939. Previously, anyone could relieve themselves right on the city streets, a public urinal in Paris, 1875. The body of the last thylacine, Tasmanian tiger on Earth and the farmer who killed it, 1930. A young woman writing a thank you note to her boyfriend in the Navy for the skull of a Japanese soldier that he sent, 1944. Unusual dog transport method, Paris, 1920s. A patient undergoing treatment for mental illness in Germany, 19th century. Excited girls at the first Chippendales Club, Los Angeles, 1979. Chippendales was a dance troupe most famous for their male striptease performances. Wedding motorcade, Chelyabinsk region, Russia, 1990s. In ancient Egypt, makeup was worn not only by women but also by men. The oldest advertisement for escort services. These are the sandals of ancient Greek prostitutes with a mirrored inscription, "Follow me." The imprint of the inscription was left on the ground, thus advertising their services. In the Greek theater, there was a special position, a rabdouche, whose duty was to beat overly rowdy spectators with a stick. Would you take such a job? Small, large, and ugly people who were exhibited as human curiosities to the paying public in the United States, 1932. The shoes of South Vietnamese army soldiers who discarded their military uniforms to hide their status litter a road on the outskirts of Saigon, 1975. A U.S. Marine feeds an orphaned kitten, Korean War, 1953. On October 5, 1948, the Ashgabat earthquake killed 110,000 people in Turkmen SSR. In the 1930s, the Soviet Union attempted to create a human-chimpanzee hybrid through insemination. The experiments were unsuccessful and were discontinued. Prostitutes timer. In the late 19th century, French prostitutes kept sets of candles like these. Each candle burned for about 7 minutes and was lit at the beginning of a session. Many will smirk, just 7 minutes. Many will call the girls lazy, and they wouldn't be wrong. Ancient ruins of an indigenous civilization, Arizona, 1873. The king of paparazzi, Rino Barilari, became the victim of an incident in Rome in 1966 when actress Sonia Romanoff attacked him with ice cream for taking an awkward photo. English women demand the right to serve in the military, citing that Italian women are allowed, 1915. While on the North African front of World War II, German tankers developed a tradition of driving over piles of camel dung for luck. Seeing this, the British made anti-tank mines disguised as these piles. After several mines exploded, the Germans started avoiding untouched piles of dung. The British then made mines that looked like piles of dung with tracks of tanks having already driven over them. If this video brought a smile or maybe even some anger, share your opinion in the comments. Stay locked in for the upcoming part. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe for more. Goodbye.